Certainly can give you a quick tour if that's something you're interested in seeing. Sure. Excellent. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the regular city council meeting. Today is December 16th, 2024. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Glab?
Here.
Mr. Claus?
Here.
Ms. Clack?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Jacobson? Mr. Keller?
Here.
Mayor Church?
Here. Thank you. This evening, Councilman Claus will lead us in the pledge. And then right after that, for those of you with us who have hats on, please remove those. And Councilman Keller will give the invocation. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity and the responsibility for us to meet tonight to discuss the affairs of the city. We are grateful for this opportunity to serve our neighbors. We ask you to please continue to bless us with the stewardship that we've been given of doing the right thing for the city of North Pole right now and also in the future. Lots of things are coming in the world and changes. We ask you to please bless us to make the best decisions possible. Please bless the first responders, not just in our area, but surrounding areas. Please bless the military. May be kept safe. And please bless the other leaders of this world, especially this time of year with the spirit of Christmas abound, and not just within our small city, that we can have an added measure of spirit of Christmas, a spirit of giving, a spirit of forgiveness. And we say these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you for that. That takes us to approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jacobson, seconded by Councilman Claus. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the agenda this evening, Ms. Clack?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Glab?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson?
Yes.
Mr. Claus?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mayor Church?
Yes.
Thank you. 7 affirmatives. I'm sorry.
One
Yeah.
like to change their vote? Seeing none. Thank you, Madam Clerk. That takes us to item number 5, approval of the minutes from December 2nd, 2024.
Move to approve the minutes from December 2nd, 2024.
I'll second. So moved by Councilman Claus, seconded by Councilman Williams. Any discussion or changes to the minutes? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Clack?
Yes.
Mr. Claus?
Yes.
Ms. Glab?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? And Mayor Church?
Yes. Brings us to item 6, communications of the mayor. And this evening, I would like to start off by having the student of the month from North Pole High School step forward, Miss Moth Guzman. First off, thank you for being here this evening. We really appreciate it. Thank you for what you have done. Your choir teacher sent over a wonderful letter of appreciation for everything that you've done from your all-state music and choir to your theater productions and everything you've done. So we want to say thank you and award you as Student of the Month. I believe that this was Student of the Month for December. Is that correct, or was it November?
November.
Okay, so we're a little bit behind because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but we still wanted to bring recognition to all your efforts and hard work and say thank you with this award of Student of the Month. Thank you for all you have done. If Mom wants to step forward and get some pictures, I would also like to present you with a North Pole Challenge coin. This coin challenges you to continue the work that you do, but also to inspire other students to do better. Thank you for doing all that you do. I'll let you hold your award, and then if Mom wants to give me your phone, I'll go ahead and snap.
Great, congratulations.
Council, if you will, just stand up. If we can kind of crowd in or behind the family, that would be great to get you guys in a picture as well.
Oh, wait a minute, wait.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Good point.
Right in here.
All right, a little taller there, Mayor. All right, you guys ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good.
All right. Thank you very much. You guys are more than welcome to stay if you want, but you're also more than welcome to leave if you would like as well. Wonderful. Thank you for being here very much.
Concert tomorrow night? Okay, and that's at 7 p.m. at the high school?
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeff, for that plug. That's great. Other communications from the mayor. Had the pleasure of attending the Alaska Municipal League Conference last week in Anchorage, along with Councilman Claus, Councilwoman Glab, Councilman Williams. It was a wonderful event, a great learning experience, and hopefully next year more of our council will be able to come, where we have arranged dates, hotels, rooms, and schedules. So a great learning experience, and excited to see that happen again next year. Other than that, that brings us to item 7, council members' questions of the mayor.
Yes. Chandra has one.
Go ahead, Ms. Clack.
My question is, in regards to, was there at least one more other person that was able to go down? Because I know that, I was under the impression that Anton would have been able to attend.
Yes, there was Maggie, our HR clerk, also was able to attend. And that was a good experience for her, but I'll let her speak to that next meeting.
Okay, but my
Thank you for
question
that.
was Anton able to attend with him being a new member on chamber?
Anton, were you able to attend AML?
This is a question for you, Mayor, not for
Oh.
me.
As far as I know, Anton did not attend AML this year.
And why was that? Was there enough money in the funds to accommodate, or?
It came down to a matter of setting up a schedule and making that happen. And moving forward with that. It was short-timed and poorly planned. So next year we'll do a lot better with planning to make that happen.
Okay. So money didn't play a variable in this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Jacobson.
So of the things that you learned down there, what were some of the highlights that you'd like to share with us that could be beneficial for our community?
So I went to a lot of classes regarding grants and grant writing, and the people who aren't so well known that are out there that have money that we can apply for grants with. I did bring back my AML book, so if any council members would like to look at that, look at the classes, I did take some notes. You're more than welcome to burn a copy of that and check into that. But other than networking, the grant writing portion was super important to me. I was honored by the other mayors around the state, and was put forth to be vice president of the Mayors Association at AML. But unfortunately, I did not get elected, but Peter Machicki, who is the borough mayor at Kenai, did. But it was nice. It was nice to be thought of in that regard.
I lost to him before too.
Yeah. So,
Another question before you? As mayor, what did they share that would be good for you moving forward for the city?
I think the grant writing portion was the biggest takeaway for that. Other than getting to meet our other local interior mayors, the borough mayor at the Denali Borough, the Nenana mayor, and set up a 4 time a year meeting with them so that we can get together and talk about issues that affect all of us. Really, my two big takeaways there.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please, go
In
ahead.
reference to that training, I think the most important that I got out of it was the mayor of Nenana, right?
Yeah,
He
Mr.
gave-
Verhagen.
He
Yep.
gave us some good ideas in reference when it comes to grant writing. And we can save ourselves money by learning how to do that ourselves instead of these other individuals that don't produce or don't send in the right, not the right wording for what we want to do. So I think a lot of that comes down on us trying to learn how to do that and working with each other. And I'm pretty sure he will be a person or an individual that we can bounce information off in reference to help us to get better in that aspect. Because I got the idea of talking with him. He said, you would be surprised at the grants that are out there that individuals do not put in for, that should put in for. And that was very interesting to me. So if we ever have individuals that's going to get involved in that, I would like to be involved on that. I mean, not that I can't do it, but there's a lot involved getting that information and making it work for us. In my way of thinking, we all have to help one another in reference to come together so we can get those good grants, so we can get money, so we don't have to depend on other individuals. That's what I saw out of that one.
Yeah, it really was a big one. It was. And the takeaway for such a small town, they do have a tribe outside of Nenana. So some of those could be one way or the other or both, which certainly helps in the grant writing process. But there's a lot of grants out there that just don't get applied for that we really should take on. In our meetings with Two Bears, our consultants, they bring up grants, but there was a lot of information there with AML that came forth through grant writing. So I'm excited about that for our city. So thank you for that, Benny. Thank you for the question.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
What day was that grant writing training on?
There was a bunch of them, really.
Okay.
I have the book here. It was Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday was policy and procedure.
So nothing on Monday for the new elected officials?
I didn't attend that, but Mr. Williams did
Okay.
and just spoke to that.
Okay.
So-
And they spoke on grant writing during that day?
A little bit.
Okay.
Mostly what they talked about were policies, procedures, and what's that young lady on the end?
And Robert's rule and the
Robert's
proper
Rule of Order
process of
of doing
approving
things
things.
properly and get,
Parliamentary procedure.
yes. And that was mostly important for us. And what I like to see, if at all possible, that some of us can go to the whole week-long school, because my understanding was say, I was constantly asked, or I heard him say, well, you can come to the mayor's portion also. There's things there to be learned. So what I'm looking for next year, not to put any pressure on my clerk over there, is to maybe can set us up where we can go through the whole thing or to learn. Because the only way you're going to learn that is by being in it, hearing people talk, knowing who to talk to, knowing who to get information from. If you don't do that, you're going to be behind the power curve.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Williams, because my next question is, Mr. Mayor, have you learned a little bit from our conversation about me trying to go to a conference?
Have I learned a little bit?
Yeah.
I I fully support our council going to conference, and in fact, just this afternoon, I asked Madam Clerk to set up and reserve hotel rooms for a majority of our council for classes next year
Okay.
that will be well prepared and set out. I know you had request, Councilman Keller, to go this year. Unfortunately, the timing of that just did not work out. I appreciate your willingness to go and am very excited about next year, and taking you with us and making that happen in an organized fashion that isn't put together last minute with proper planning. Everything costs more at the last minute, and I am doing my best to try and save the city as much money at every possible corner I can. So thank you for your willingness to sit this year out and not go. I know that you were willing to pay for a lot of that yourself, but unfortunately, code you would be required to receive compensation for that, and it's clearly stated in code.
Okay, so that's one
thank you for
thing.
that.
Mayor, that's where you're conflicting yourself here with there's no money, there wasn't a money decision, but yet money was involved. And yes, I volunteered to like do a lot of what was needed. I had my days set apart from my busy schedule. So I was planning on going. I was never approached after being sat on city council again. And when I approached you about going, you're like, one day, the first day of the week. And I said, I've looked at the agenda and I think it would be very beneficial for me to attend all week. And that's why I set aside the whole week. And you decided to actually reproach me and say, no, you only can go for one day. You only needed one day. But once again, I'm asking the question, have you learned a lesson that a whole week of training is beneficial for city council?
Okay, Councilman Keller, I would appreciate it, please, if you just took a deep breath. I can tell you're upset about that, and I understand why.
Mayor, this is something that I've had a week of time off at my home to enjoy. I'm not upset at not going to training. I'm upset at the process and procedure that went place. And you're citing code, you're citing various things in email that I have for us to break Open Meetings Act if I went down, which is not true.
That isn't true at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that it seems like you've learned a lesson to take counsel. I'm glad I learned a lesson that I was actually correct, that the whole week was a great opportunity. And I hope next year, whoever attends, that it's a great opportunity.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for the question. I don't know if it's a lesson that I needed to learn, but it was very advantageous to be there. And I'm excited for you to go next year and be a part of that.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you bet. As soon as I hear more about that, I'll certainly let everybody know when that meeting is so that you can mark that out and set that out. And as soon as we have an agenda for AML, I'd love to sit down with everybody and go over that and see which classes everyone would like to take. I think it would be advantageous for us to split up and take different classes. So as an entire council, we're better educated, not only in procedures and rules, but also in opportunities that the city has that we're missing out on that were presented at AML. So, Councilman Jacobson.
Just a kind of a historical perspective. When I came on the council in the 90s, it was standard procedure that everybody went to AML for the entire week, and then that the newly elected officials made sure that they went there that Monday. And then over the years, as council members' schedules became more hectic and they had less time to take off from work, it was, they started just going to the bare necessities of what they needed to do. But it's a thing that has lots of different things in flow, people's schedules, the city budget, um, uh, what's happening that week. But there has been past practice where council members have gone for the full session, not necessarily maybe on Friday, but again, it's very flexible scheduling for what is being presented that year at AML that could be beneficial to council members.
I 100% agree with that. But the last minute, a week before we're supposed to leave, not the right time. And I understand that it wasn't planned out that way. And I will take responsibility for not taking that on the minute Anton was elected. That should have been the night that I talked to you about that and we dealt with that. If it was really on your schedule to make that happen, I missed that opportunity and I would like to publicly apologize to you, Mr. Keller, for that. So I look forward to that next year, you being able to go along with other members of the council.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Oh, please, Mr. Claus.
So, Mr. Mayor, I agree and support what Mr. Jacobson was saying. When I was on council earlier, a few terms ago, we had a full week of stuff, and I think most of us attended between 12 and 15 sessions of different stuff. You name it, just ran the gamut. It was fascinating. We had options for each single session time period. Some were repeated, some weren't. And it was chock full of very useful information, especially the legal part, some other aspects of it. So I would hardly endorse doing that again. And I think part of it's up to AML. I'm not sure AML is scheduling things the way they used to do. Back then, we had a plethora of stuff we could go to, and now it seems to be sort of bare bones, but still very worthwhile. So I'd definitely be in support of doing that for sure. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on. Brings us to item 8, citizens' comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody signed up or signed up online who would like to give up to 5 minutes?
I don't have anybody signed up online, and I don't believe there's anybody here. We have been discussing just making a note when we have citizens' comments. Citizens' comments, any person wishing to speak. I'm also going to read this because Chandra's signing back on. She lost her computer capability. But any person wishing to speak needs to sign up on the list located on the public testimony table. Respectful standards of decorum and courtesy should be observed by all speakers. Remarks should be directed to the council as a body rather than any one member of the council or member of the staff. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Again, I have nobody to sign up, but.
Thank you for reading that and reiterating that. I appreciate that, Madam Clerk. That brings us to item number 9. Communications from department heads. Madam Clerk, would you like to kick this off?
Yes, thank you. Let's see. So Maggie did attend AML this year, and she's thankful for the opportunity for training. She reported her most enjoyable session was about public record requests. Those do come through our offices on a regular basis, so hearing the questions that came from around the state were kind of interesting. It is year-end wrap-up time in the clerk's department, so I have printed you guys all calendars for next year, all the public meetings. Also, department heads, I've put out all of the insurance cards, and if there's anybody missing for your vehicles. I have a couple that don't have a home, so please come and see me. And let's see. The only other thing I have to say is there's 8 days left until Christmas.
Oh, ouch.
That hits real hard. And I still don't have Chandra on Zoom, but I am watching for her.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chief Dutra.
Good evening. So just a few things. I did have a great training in Anchorage the week before you all went to AML. I was there doing leadership training. As always, it's great speakers, great information, good stuff. And while I was there, I did receive the Alaska Association Chiefs of Police, the 2023 Chief of the Year, which I was pretty humbled and appreciative of. And pretty cool. There's lots of competition, and I did win. So I do thank former Mayor Clack for nominating me for that award, and I'm very humbled, but pretty cool. The entire event, the entire community of North Pole and Fairbanks did participate in the largest single food drive in history, and the food bank food drive. And there's a plaque there on there in front of Councilman Jacobson to show off to those on YouTube if they'd like to see it. Um, this is truly a community event and is amazing. And it was a huge lift on the mayor's part, the council members, citizens, everybody donating. We only squeaked through number one by about 1,995 pounds. So any small amount we didn't get would have definitely lost. But the big winner again is the community, 145,000 pounds. It will probably be the largest food drive ever in the history of the food drive. I don't know if they'll ever break that record again because it was pretty monumental. So thank you, and thank you, Councilman Jacobson and Mayor, for jumping in there and helping out. So our office remodel is about 95% done. Floors are done, painting's done, kitchen's done, it's functioning, ceiling tiles are nice and clean, everything's back in. It's just nice. Cabinets are back in the kitchen, and the only last thing we have to do is once you pass this addendum to the budget tonight, that'll add some additional funding in there to help finish off the flooring in the cabinets that were ruined in the garages when the sewer leak was occurred. So I'm buttoning it up, and I'll have it buttoned up before Christmas at least. Cabinets will be on order before Christmas, but they probably won't be here before Christmas. But we had to find the cheapest way to get them and get them shipped and get them up here and get them built. So, and we're probably going to end up missing that end of year date. But everybody's happy, and if you haven't had time, come over and take a look. It's really a phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. It's beautiful. The station has never looked so good. So some goodness came out of some bad sewer. So that I am thankful for. Lieutenant Smith graduated from the FBI Academy with honors, and we are super proud of him. That's a heck of a thing to do. He did get his yellow brick. He run like a sub 6 minute mile. And it was pretty amazing. Just did knock down a lot of barriers. He's on his way back. He should be back before the end of the year, and we'll put him to work before the new year. So he's at least back here, back doing something. Anyway, so that's all I got. Oh, the stats. They're in front of you. We did a run through the end of last month. There's some ups, some downs, some good, some bad, but for the most part, I didn't see a whole lot in here that was too concerning. The DUI numbers are certainly higher than I'd like. I never like to see those numbers running up that high, but maybe it is just the nature of the cycle. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, but nothing else in there was too bad. So we'll answer questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, please.
just because I'm not sure what exactly it is. What is part two crimes?
They're broken down into two types. There's the bad ones and the good ones. So your bad ones are
Alright.
your homicides, your rapes, your robberies, your assaults. Part two crimes are all of these forgery, fraud, weapons offenses, just smaller crimes. And that's just the way they do it with NIBRs. There's excuse me, not NIBRs. Drawing a blank. The new system they're going to be using, NIBRs, is going to break them down into even more detail. You'll probably start to see those kinds of reports come in next year. I just wanted to finish off this year with these types of reports where they split them up into the two. But next year you should start to see different types of numbers come in, so you keep your different data points.
Thank you.
UCR, that was the number. That was a term. Uniform crime reporting. That was what I was looking for. Next year we should be starting NIBRs. So.
Any other questions of Chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Madam CFO, please step forward.
Last week, myself and Michelle we were able to go to the conference, the GFOA portion of the conference. So we had several breakout sessions, one being the online sales tax, remote sellers tax. We also, there was a speaker about grants, couple of different times with grants. And one of the outcomes that we found out was the local fiscal recovery grant that ends in December 31st of this year. The council approved purchasing water meters for the utility department. I think we ordered those in March. We still do not have them. We don't have an invoice to pay for them. We have a quote, but it turns out that we found that as long as it's appropriated and it's spoken for, we have till the end of 2025 to pay for that. So we're not going to lose anything. So that was a relief. Trying to scramble, how can we handle this, you know? So we have not received the AML statements. We usually get them around the 15th to report the interest that we received in November. And Michelle is working on the bank statement when she left, and now this week is payroll week, so she's working on that. So I don't have those figures to give you, and then I'll just probably email them out when we have that all wrapped up. And that's all I've got, other than Merry Christmas, everyone. I guess it's only 8 days away.
Yeah,
Stop.
thank you. Any questions for her? Okay, thank you. Please, Chief Dutra, one more addition.
I'm so excited about the building update. I forgot to mention the shop of the cop. We just had our shop of the cop. It was on the news, and it was very, very well participated. And Lorna and Chris Illingsworth both put that on. It was done at Walmart. We had 9 officers there. We all each had kids. A great event. I mean, we had Fort Wainwright, we had Eielson, Security Forces, troopers, North Pole Airport. Everybody was there in the building. It was just an awesome event. So I just hats off to those two for that, and it's definitely a great thing to do. And also, we had 14 applicants for our evidence custodian open position, and we just did a review on those yesterday. Was that today? I don't know. It's all blurry. And we are going to take the top 5, which I found out the top 5 just moved on past the integrity tests, which is really awesome because we usually never have 5 for 5. So that's pretty cool. And we'll be doing those interviews here for the end of the week and hopefully have someone picked for that position and starting the new year with a new evidence custodian. So sorry I left that off.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for the update. Chief Heineken did text me. He had a call, so unfortunately, he won't be joining us this evening for his report, which takes us on to ongoing projects. Item 10. Scott, please come forth. Give us a year-end update. Thank you for driving all the way from town to give us an education here on what's been happening. We do really appreciate that for sure.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mayor and council members. Always a pleasure to come out here to North Pole, although my family is a tad disappointed when I reminded them that Pagoda is closed on Monday, so I would not be coming back with any from there. So I can take my time out here. There's no rush for me to come back there. Yeah, so I do want to just give kind of a recap of kind of a year in review for the regional tourism industry. And I'd say probably the main, when we look at successes, probably the main one, and I talked about this before, is just how well we've been doing as a winter destination. You know, it's pretty remarkable. You think back, 30 years ago, my predecessor, Deb Hickok, when she was in this role, new here to Fairbanks, saw, looked at what's happening with our visitors and saw, we had this amazing opportunity season outside the summer months that we really need to try and expand upon, driven, of course, by us being such a premier Northern Lights destination. And so that began the conversation of how could we grow that winter market. And I don't think anyone expected it to be where it is today, where we see, winter visitation by the different data points we track outgrowing summer numbers. And that's other destinations in Alaska do not have the good fortune that we do. By and large, March is our busiest month. And looking back at March of this year, March is growing when we look at airport stats, look at hotel stats, look at the Alaska Railroad stats. March actually outperformed May, the start of the summer season. So what's good about the growth of the winter market is unlike, summer visitors to our area, by and large, they're not just coming here. They're trying to see as much of Alaska as they can. Maybe they're on a cruise land tour, maybe a fly drive, flying into Anchorage or Fairbanks, renting an RV and seeing the state in that manner. the winter visitors that we get here, by and large, they're coming just to here. They're coming, main reason, to see the Northern Lights. They know that the longer they stay, the better chance they have of seeing them. So they're staying longer. They tend to be higher spenders than summer visitors. So they're spending more within our community, not just on tours, but in gift shops, restaurants, and so forth. So it's just great in terms of that diversification of the economy. And with the growth in winter too, is the growth in new products being developed, in particular small businesses. So, and seen a lot about here in North Pole with new aurora viewing facilities, new dog mushing tours, ice fishing tours. So it's good in that regard too, as far as how that allows for the growth and jobs. As far as summer, it was a good summer. It was up a little bit over last year. The peak months was July and August. But what's been remarkable is looking at the numbers September through November, and I'm looking at the airport numbers there. It's been they've been record months. Each one of those, going back to our previous record in 2019 before the pandemic, those months are growing as well. And again, that coincides with the start of what we call Aurora season. You know, when we say it's August 21st, April 21st, a lot of people coming up during that September timeframe because they want to see the Northern Lights, but maybe they're not as keen on the winter experience. So that September time is a good time frame to come. And it's exciting to see October and November growing because those have typically been some of our more softer months. So all around, it was a good year for the industry. We like to look at bed tax revenues, as I know the city of North Pole does, and we're on track. It's going to be another record year for total bed tax revenues for the entire borough. Through the month of September, we're at 7.6 million borough-wide. And it's on track, probably top 9 million for the first time ever. Last year, 2023, was just under 8 million, so about a $1 million increase in bed tax revenues. And it's been exciting to see the growth here at the city of North Pole through September. North Pole is tracking at 43% over last year. And the amount through September right now, I haven't seen any numbers beyond that, is at 138,145. That's actually more than the entirety of 2023, which is at 109,276. I did reach out. I know last year for Hotel North Pole, when I'd asked Wanda, because it was down a bit, she was saying they did have more longer term stays, which makes them exempt from paying the bed tax. So I reached out to her to see, obviously there's been a shift in that. But what we see also across the borough is one of the contributors to the increase in bed tax revenues, besides ADRs, hotel average daily rates are going up, as are most things in life. But in the borough, I've seen that growth in short-term rentals, Airbnbs, vacation rental by owners. So I don't know, perhaps if the city of North Pole is seeing short-term rentals coming on the market, that might be contributing to that to those bed tax numbers. But that's good. Bed tax revenues, that's good for the local government. It's good for us. So everyone wins when those numbers are coming in. And those are taxes being paid not by the local residents, which is also a good thing. One of our big shifts this last year, you know, our primary goal is to market Fairbanks as a visitor destination, but we've been, like a lot of similar entities that do what we do across the country, we're trying to play a bigger role within the community at large. And how can we do our part to make the communities that we live in better for residents and not just for visitors? So we've really amplified those efforts this last year. As I mentioned, we have Juanita Webb as our community engagement manager, who's doing just a phenomenal job in that role. So we've launched different projects. And one of the ones we did this last summer was called the Feed the Helpers program, where we partnered with a local food truck vendor and went out to 11 different fire departments within the borough, to include the city of North Pole and North Star, and fed the emergency responders as a way of, you know, thanking them for what they do, not just keeping residents safe too, but they're keeping our visitors safe too. So we fed a little over 350 emergency responders with, it was T's barbecue connection. I went to all 11 of them. I probably gained about 20 pounds over the course of this endeavor, but it's some good barbecue. And I think those emergency responders that we visited were very appreciative of that. This next year, we're doing something similar. Where what we're doing is so we do have dues paying members. We're a membership entity. So we have, you know, people who pay dues. The basic level is $250 for businesses, $50 for nonprofits. We're giving members, as they renew, our new members coming on board, they can contribute $25 of their dues, not on top of their dues, to one of 4 different entities within the borough that are focused on solving issues with food security in our community. So they can choose from either the Meals on Wheels program, the Fairbanks Community Food Bank, the school district nutrition services, or the bread line. So we just rolled that out this last month, and then of course, if they would like to contribute more on top of that to one of those entities, they have the ability to do that. But I think it's an exciting way to help, the tourism industry can help try to solve a problem or contribute to finding a solution to something that's a significant issue within our community. As far as a look ahead to this next year and beyond, we are really at a very exciting time in the regional tourism industry. And the main reason I'm excited is we have pretty new significant assets, products coming on board that we haven't seen the likes of in the last 10 years. So here in North Pole, the expansion over at the Santa Claus House with the Silver Barrel Square, that's going to be a pretty exciting thing for North Pole. You might have seen the news that the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum is moving over to the old Kmart building on Airport Way, and they're going to add on an aviation component too. And you think of the high quality of the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum, imagine factoring in aviation component. That's going to be that's going to be a world-class museum that we're going to have here in our own community. The UA Museum of the North, they've got a couple of exciting projects coming up here. They've got a planetarium, we've been trying to advocate for a planetarium for many years as part of our kind of Aurora destination component. So they're breaking ground on that this next September. And then their Bus 142, the Into the Wild bus exhibit, is going to come on board this next year as well. And that's a huge draw. Believe me, it's in international markets. We were very pleased that it was removed from the location that it was in because it was a serious hazard and danger to people trying to get out there. So having it here and making it easily accessible for people to learn the story behind it. And probably the most significant one is, one of the things we've been advocating for years is the need for a convention center within Fairbanks. That's, my predecessor, that was a huge thing that she was trying to get. So we have a convention center coming. In fact, we're going to have two on board. So Jonathan Huff with Alaska Universal Productions, he bought the French Church over on 30th Avenue. That's being converted into convention center space. And then with the Auto Museum, once that moves over to the Kmart building, Tim certainly is going to convert that space into a convention center. Same capacity, about 800 or so. So that's huge because we do have a challenge. Part of our role is to bring meetings and conventions to Fairbanks. And we do have the Westmark with the Gold Room. We have the Carlson Center, which is not a convention center. It's a sporting community center that can sometimes dress it up nicely and be a convention center, but it's not the most ideal fit for that. So that's going to open up a lot of new opportunities for us because the main time of year that meetings and conventions transpire is during the months of, say, April and October. Those are our softest months in terms of visitors. So I think that'll help us really kind of fully round out the entire year as being a true and successful year-round destination, even more than we are now. So that's my report. We did, again, just going back to the bed tax, we did not apply for the funds this year. We are in a position we're doing good. We're healthy right now as an organization, and it's a small amount of money, and you got a lot of worthy entities applying for those funds. So we'd rather see that spread out to others who are needing those funds. So thank you, as always, for your time. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you for all the work that you do and all the information you provide to the entire area. I think it's huge, and we really appreciate that. Any questions for Mr. McCray? Please go ahead, Mr. Jacobs.
Not more of a question, more of a comment. Just such exciting news that you shared with us. That's really kind of lifts your spirits when things are getting a little bit dismal. That there are so many great things just on the horizon. So thank you.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for presenting, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas, everyone. 8 days away.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Brings us to the North Pole Economic Development Committee.
So good evening. So yeah, I'm Howard Rixey. I guess I should start by this because we have some new members here, and I appreciate the new members. So this time last year, I was actually asked to be on the Economic Development Committee, which I think our first meeting was in February. Anyways, and it was primarily members of the city council and one or two others there. But anyways, I'm just sharing my experience here. We floundered a little bit. We tried to find some focus, and we started with the city strategic plan. An interesting conversation there was we all found very valued information in the strategic plan, but then when we asked the question, why is this not used in the decision making of the city? And we were all bewildered on that there. So I would offer that as just a little bit of advice in that regard there. But one of the things we did in the February timeframe, I'm looking at you, Jeff, I think it was February, March timeframe, we kind of did some brainstorming of some initiatives that might impact us from an economic standpoint. And I don't know, there was probably 50 items there. And the strategic plan was the inspiration of a lot of it. But we wanted to rack and stack it and kind of come up with some priorities for our efforts and whatnot there. And to be quite frank, it was probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months before we even done anything with it. We just weren't able to meet on a regular basis, or the composition that did meet there wasn't complete and whatnot. Anyways, Jeff was nice enough to ask if I would take over the chair position at the October meeting there. And so in November and December, I did do that. And I want to say, I don't know, some of y'all were there. So I want to say these last 2 meetings have been fruitful and what have you. But one of the things that we have 2 recommendations, really. One of them is a official charter from the city council. And that's why we're here tonight, is to ask y'all to charter the committee and give it, 1, a recomposition of the membership, and 2, is an actual mission statement. So if I may, can I read that into what we're proposing there, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, yeah, you certainly. Madam Clerk, would you like to put that on the screen? Do we have that available?
Are we talking about,
Yes, the North
Committee
Pole
charter.
Economic Committee. Yep.
well, I find it in my email here, Howard. You're welcome to.
Yeah, please.
Okay, no
Just
problem.
go ahead and read through it there.
Yeah.
Mr. Rixey.
So just for the record there, so the current committee that we've been working with is myself, the mayor, whoever that may be, currently Mayor Turch, Jeff Jacobson, Chandra Clack, Anton Keller, and then Clinton Summers. Anyways,
Demo Stewart.
yeah, and so, well, actually, Jomo Stewart from Fedco wasn't actually assigned to the committee, but he's been participating now on dang near every meeting. As a matter of fact, he and I probably were the only ones that showed up at every meeting throughout the past year. So I just wanted to note, so that's who's currently on the committee there. And so what we're asking is this, and I'll just read this in the record. So the City Economic Development Committee it brings forth the following proposed charter statement for the City Council's endorsement. The City of North Pole's Economic Development Committee shall be comprised of 8 members made up of representatives from the following areas of interest or knowledge base. 1 seat, 2 seats technically from the City Council or the Mayor. 1 seat dedicated to Fedco, 1 seat dedicated to Explore Fairbanks, 1 to the North Pole Community Chamber of Commerce, 1 representing a non-profit enterprise within the community, and then 2 spots from actual business representatives from our city there. So that is our proposal as far as the composition of the committee. And then we go on to say the committee chairperson from within the committee shall be designated each calendar year and serve at the pleasure of the mayor. And then thirdly is the City of North Pole's Economic Development Committee shall be charged with the following mission. Promote sustainable economic growth within the North Pole area by fostering a vibrant residential and business environment, attracting new investments, retaining existing businesses, and cultivating a quality labor force and expanded job opportunities through strategic planning, collaboration with stakeholders, and targeted initiatives to enhance the community's overall levels of economic prosperity and quality of life. So, and then we close out with what we proposed here with, we would like to meet and commit to meeting once a month, and then on a bi-monthly basis, so every other month, come here and provide a report to the city council. So that's what we're asking y'all to endorse tonight. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you for your report. Appreciate it, Mr. Rixey.
Before I go, I just want to brag there. So News Minor, big flash there, Winterfest. We got 2 coloring pages of everything that happened this past weekend. So if you haven't seen it.
And a wonderful Winterfest at the mall and fireworks display.
Yeah, it was very fantastic there. So thank you.
Okay, Councilman Jacobson, that brings us to your project, the Sister City.
Yes, we had a Sister City exchange program that started in the early 90s with Itadori, Japan. Mayor Carlita Lewis was our first mayor that participated in that Sister City program. And then in the 90s, Mayor Lute Cunningham so continued to pick that up, and we got more council members involved. Karen Lane was the first council member that went over as a city representative to Japan, and it turned into an exchange between their graduating 8th grade class coming over in the summer, usually August, to stay with local families, and then for our students, grades 8th through 12th grade, to go over to Japan during our spring vacation in March to live with Japanese families. That changed about a decade ago when Japan decided to consolidate a lot of their smaller communities into larger ones from the federal level down. So the Itadori village was no longer an independent municipality. It was combined with 3 others. And so it lost a lot of its funding for the program, but they had incorporated into a nonprofit host society, and they had they continued for several years with that program, and then came over a few years ago for their last visit here, and we had gone the year before for our last visit. This fall, we were late in the fall, we were contacted that they have some remaining funds that they would like to have us come over for one more last time. And so that's what this is all about, is trying to gather enough city council members, adult chaperones, and students to make a trip over there in spring of 2025. We're still shooting around the spring break timeframe, so the students would not miss as much school days. And so we're looking at leaving maybe a few days before spring vacation and coming back during spring vacation or right at the end. So days limited for school. Days missed would not be a hard impact. So there are flyers that have been distributed. So if you are interested or know of somebody, if you scan the QR code, it's kind of a survey where you say, yeah, you're interested, you know somebody, maybe a family member, a student that would like to go and get more information, and to do that. We did have a meeting on the 11th of December. 6 adults showed up, and we had 6 students online that had signed up and expressed interest. So we are looking at probably doing a lot of virtual, maybe meetings to get people involved in this. We were able to look at with one of the travel agency the cost for transportation round trip to Japan, about $1,700. It's a 27 to 30 hour trip one way there. So that's the dynamics of which pathway do you take, flying to Seattle, overnighting, then catching an earlier flight so you don't arrive in Itadori at 1 a.m. in the morning after leaving here, 1 a.m. the day before. So it's kind of we're still working out those details, but the biggest thing is just to get enough people who are interested in going to go over there. It's been a wonderful experience. I've had the chance to go over there multiple times. It's life-changing for our youth as far as they discover how much they have in common with people that look very different from them, that speak very different from them, that live very different from them, that eat very different from them, and they become very close to these people, and their eyes are opened as far as the possibilities of a great big world out there for them to explore and to enjoy. And it kind of breaks down a lot of preconceived notions and barriers with cultural diversity, things like that. don't have to speak Japanese, and now with Google Translator, it would be much easier for all of us or those who would be interested in going to be able to communicate a little bit better. They have in the past had some translators, but those translators aren't able to stay with you in your home state family. Adults would be staying in pairs of adults with the family. The youth would be paired up, usually 2 youth, sometimes it's 3 youth if there's an odd number. And they live with a family and they are communicating through sign language and dictionaries, but now Google Translator will make that so much better. So I encourage you, if you have anybody that you know that fits that age group, just get pass this flyer to them, have them scan it. As long as they get into the system, we can start pushing out information and getting them on board.
How many people are you trying to get together total?
We don't have a number set. In the past, when we worked with the travel agency and there was a little bit of a different structure, the larger the number, we got a discount on the fares, and that has gone away. We've gone over there as much as taking like 31, 32 individuals, and that was quite an adventure in itself. We don't anticipate that to be that high. So whatever number we can get, I'm not sure if there'll be like a minimum number that it's like, this is not worth the expense for everybody to go over. If it's just a few students and more adults, because we want, part of that is that our students interact with their students. They go to school, they have activities, games, so they can really have a kid-to-kid relationship ambassador program.
I think it's a great program, and thank you for taking that on. I would also challenge you, like we talked about last week, to have other additional sister cities, and I would really love to see sister cities within our own state. I think it's super important that we not only give our students an opportunity to experience what life is like in other places, but they could go a mere few hundred miles from here and experience a totally different life. And those students from different villages around Alaska certainly would experience a different life here than what they're used to at home. So I think it's a great program, and I would love to see the city continue that, but continue it on a more local, statewide level. In talking with a lot of the mayors at AML, it would definitely give their students from their hometown hope and experience a different part of the state. So thank you for that, Mayor.
My North Pole congregation that I attend, we are going to be doing an exchange or a visit first up to Barrow, Alaska this summer, and hopefully do just that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jeff, for all of that. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to item number 11, unfinished business. Ordinance 2024-11. It is the final amendment of the 2024 budget. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll motion to amend 2024 final operating capital adjustment.
Okay.
Correct? Was that the right one?
No, it just needs to be brought to the floor. Would you like to amend your motion?
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2411.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll give it a second.
All right. Motioned by Councilwoman Glab and Councilman Jacobson for a first, and
Benny
seconded
Williams.
by
Ms. Doe.
Councilman Williams.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a group effort here at the City of North Pole. Thank you for helping out. That's wonderful. Discussion on the ordinance. Tricia, would you like to come forth in case we have any questions about that?
Well, Tricia's coming up. I'll just point out that I didn't have anybody sign up for public testimony on this item. Nobody called in to speak to it.
Okay. Thank you for that, Madam Clerk. Any questions for the CFO regarding this transfer cleanup ordinance?
I just noticed that.
Please go ahead, Mr. Jacobs.
Our sales tax online that we are seeing an even higher projected revenue increase.
I already upped it once on a fiscal note earlier in the year. And then I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but one of the months, unusual month, we almost got $100,000 in 1 month.
What do you,
But at the conference they were talking about, they had some new companies come in and register with them. I don't know if those are companies that are contributing to us or not. It'd be interesting to look through the reports and find out.
what are you projecting that to be? It's probably going to be a new record breaker then.
Yeah. On the flip side, it doesn't look like our property tax is going to come in like we, so it's at the end of the year, you just, you
It's
don't
a
know.
wash. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On ordinance 2011, the final amending the 2024 budget, Ms. Clack. Ms. Clack.
You may be on mute, Ms. Clack.
I'll come back to Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Ms. Glab.
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Claus. Ms. Clack, are you there? Mayor Turch.
Yes.
This would pass with 6 yeses.
Would anyone like to change or amend their vote?
This is passed with 6 yeses.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That takes us to new business. Resolution 2024-11, establishing a transfer of funds from Mount McKinley Bank to AML Investment Pool. Sorry, Ms. CFO. Getting extra steps in. Would you like to?
I'm sorry, point of order. May I get a first and second to bring it on the floor?
Move to introduce and adopt resolution 2024-11.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jacobson, seconded by Councilman Claus. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And I did have nobody text, email, or send in for communication prior to this reading.
Wonderful. Ms. Fogarty, would you like to go through this?
Sure.
Thank you.
So this is just moving some funds that are currently at Mount McKinley Bank. And you can see the interest rate there versus what the interest rate on that date was listed as on the AMLIP accounts. Our intent for this is to open up 2 new accounts. We can have as many accounts as we want. We got a standard number and then it just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after that. And so we'll open up a reserve for the water reserve and sewer reserve. We'll put $1 million in each. We'll earn interest every month. That interest will come back to the reserve accounts and build the fund balance. The reserve accounts are kind of set aside for facility repair and replacement. The funds that go in there are generated from the utility bills. It's the base charges and the FRR charges. The FR charges is based on usage. And so that's been going in there for many years when we open the accounts during Bill Butler's time. So
That's quite a differential from the 1.13 to 4.54 percent to be able to help our city be more stable and earn money just sitting there, letting it sit. So any questions? Okay, seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion that was first and seconded for establishing a transfer of funds from Mount McKinley Bank to the city of the AML investment pool. Mr. Claus.
Yes.
Mr. Keller. Mr. Turch.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Ms. Glab.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson.
Yes.
And Ms. Clack.
Yes, and I apologize. My computer is freezing up. And so I couldn't make the mouse move. And when I touched the screen, it wouldn't even budge at all. So that time frame just really messed me up. But I sent you a text in regards to a yes if you happen to check your phone to that
Okay.
last vote.
Thank you, Ms. Clack.
You're welcome.
Would anyone like to change their vote?
That passed with 6 yeses.
7.
Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry, yes,
7.
7 yeses.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to item 13, council comments.
Ms. Clack, would you like to start off council member comments?
I have none tonight. Just everybody have an enjoyable holiday.
Thank you, Ms. Clack. Mr. Keller, would you like to go next?
We are, is it 8 days until Christmas? Right? I'm pretty much ready for Christmas. So, Merry Christmas. I've been saying that a lot lately because I don't have people looking at me weird because it is Christmas time. Other times of the year, it's a little different. Look out for your neighbors. It's been interesting, the high temps and the low temps, and the snow accumulation. But what a great time of the year to look out for neighbors. What great success the whole food bank had with getting food donations and cash donations and for the Toys for Tots and Santa's Helpers organization. A lot of families have been helped this year, so it's been great to watch that to come to fruition in this troubled time. So with that, Merry Christmas to all and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Mr. Jacobson?
Thank you. Again, kudos to our Fairbanks, our North Pole Police Chief, Steve Dutra, for getting the 2023 AACOP Chief of the Year. He is one of a kind and really has brought a huge positive recognition to our community over the years for all of the things that he's been able to accomplish during his tenure as the chief here in our city. And also for Lieutenant Smith to be graduating from the FBI Academy with honors, again, speaks to the caliber of men and women that we have working in the police department, along with our men and women in the fire department who, I love their Christmas card of all the things that they are energetically involved with. That even though what they do is very challenging and difficult to transport people who are in medical duress and also rescue people from burning structures. So listen to them when they say check your chimneys, clear them out, make sure you are disposing of your ashes properly, that you're not putting any heating device in a room that's going to be consuming oxygen, producing carbon monoxide, and harming people and even killing them. It's been incredible. It's incredible that so much food was raised for the food bank drives, but it's even sweeter that the North Pole Police Department won the 2024 APOA food drive. We've been working hard to get to the top of the heap, and they did it this year. So that's really a great way to end the year. We had some amazing things happen this year that were new to our community. One was Light the World Giving Machines. That was at the Santa Claus House from November 22nd through the 11th. And we saw some of the YouTube videos, and that has just really, I think, brought a lot of joy and positive energy into our community. It wasn't so much as raising money for the local charities as it was to give people a beautiful experience of thinking about other people, caring, and seeing that it was possible for them to make a difference with a targeted donation. Those results won't come out until probably February, March, because there's a worldwide 506 machines, 106 locations. They all have different campaign dates. So all the auditing, all the finalizing has to be done. And then it will be a mass release of what communities raised what money. So it's not somebody gets more attention than others because their information was released earlier. But from overall, our campaign here was very successful, and the number of stories of people who showed up there and discovered that they could help others with the giving machine and listen to see their responses really accomplished a lot, I think, and made North Pole a very special place for them to be. We also had the gift, which we've learned maybe needs to be expanded, which was more of a community focus on the gift of the birth of the Savior that was held at the church on 8th Avenue with involvement of different churches and congregations. But it was a beautiful display of nativity scenes, pictures of the Savior, Christmas trees decorated in a variety of ways, but also doing a lot of service for nonprofits, rescue agencies, tying blankets and doing cards for the food gift boxes. And I think there were a couple other things that those who attended the gift over those 2 days did. The North Pole Winterfest at the mall and the fireworks, that's always a fun time. It's great to see the North Pole Plaza Mall parking lot fill up and see so many people. This year, it was one of the most bitter, cold days of the year to be outside. I chickened out and stood in my doorway with the door heating me up from behind, watching the fireworks because I was not going to venture out any farther than that. And then to have a front page and a back page on the newspaper showcase the North Pole Community Christmas celebration was sweet. It was so sweet. So thank you to everybody who made all of these events over the last several months happen in North Pole. And as we heard yesterday at the community Christmas celebration, there's no place like North Pole where the spirit of Christmas lives year round. And if you want a little bit more of that, go to the North Pole High School Choir concert tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Mr. Williams?
Well, I'd like to ditto what Jeff said. That way I don't have to say too much. But this December is really interesting. Everybody should be careful out there and watch your roofs because the snow load, it's getting close. The other day I was sitting at the house and I heard crack, crack. And I said, oh my goodness, not good. So watch your roofs. Be careful when you get out in the snow. And don't take your vehicles in snow that's up to your knees because it won't go far. Trust me, that happened to me last year. My son took the vehicle out and it would not move in the parking lot. Not at all. And I had a situation, but we made it work. So the other day, the individual came and plowed my parking lot. And the next morning, snow was up again. Not a good situation. So be very careful about that. Take care, everybody. And I think we all know that there was another shooting in the schools. We have to be mindset of what's going on with the kids. Okay. And the final result of that has not come down yet. So watch what's going on. Be, what's the word? Very attentive of what people are saying and what's going on around you. Because you never know who has a problem. And we all got to work together and take care of one another. I know sometimes it's hard, but as a what team, we can do it. And that's all I got to say. Thank you. Oh, Merry Christmas. We got how many more days? 7?
8 days.
Oh, I'm sorry. 8 days. Okay, that's good.
And then just in the interest of public process, Chandra did vote yes on that. She sent in, so on the ordinance, I will notate she voted yes. And thank you, Chandra. Next, Ms. Glab.
First off, I'm going to request that everyone stop reminding me how little time I have to finish my shopping.
Mom, are you getting nervous?
Maybe a little. But with that, I am saving time. There were a lot of wonderful events over the last 2 weeks. I did attend the Christmas festival here, winter festival here, and I was another one of those to chickened out and watched the lights and fireworks from my back deck. But again, I don't think my children probably would have enjoyed being stuck out in the cold either, as cold as it was. But they did enjoy walking around, and they all got a little something at the festival, so it was quite wonderful. Um, I would also like to in the future, because I know it only happens once a year, to encourage everyone to go see the Nutcracker. I took the kids to that. That was quite enjoyable. Um, with that, I'm just going to say I had a wonderful time in Anchorage with the council members and the brief time I got with the mayor towards the end. I think that it was very beneficial, and I think that we all have a lot still to learn, always. I do apologize. I did not make it to the evening event.
It's a good one.
I was informed I missed a good one. Uh, but it was overall very well and met a lot of people that we would not have met otherwise. So that was pretty wonderful. With that, I'm going to say Merry Christmas, and please no one else remind me how many days I have left.
Okay, we'll no longer speak about time frame, but Santa Claus, you're up.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. It's one time of year I get to share my little blessing that I usually share with children. May each of you enjoy a lifetime that's filled with happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and most of all, love, the greatest gift. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Claus. Mayor Church.
I would like to start off by thanking our employees at the City of North Pole. I don't know if any of you councilmen, women have heard our North Pole employees did ads wishing people a Merry Christmas. So thank you for those employees who stepped up to get those recordings done and get those out to the radio station. It's great that we're able to get them involved and make that happen and give them some ownership of the city rather than having to hear the mayor talk on the radio. I think that's great. I would like to thank you, Mr. Jacobson, for filling in for me yesterday at the reading of "Twas the Night Before Christmas." I appreciated the invite, Howard. Thank you for that. But unfortunately, I was not able to make it. So thank you for filling in for me. That's wonderful. I'm glad you got your picture in the paper. I think that's super positive and a great experience. I was unable to attend. I was picking up employees who were on their way back from AML at the airport. So thank you for making that happen. With that, I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you for making this year so wonderful. And please, like someone said earlier, pay attention to our neighbors. There are a lot of elderly and seniors who are out there who aren't able to get out, to get moving. Knock on a neighbor's door, say hello, introduce yourself if you haven't met your neighbor. It is the season of giving. Christ gave us that, and I'm so thankful for that. And Merry Christmas to all. I would like to move to adjourn.
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 8:17.
You guys can all sign these cards.
Oh. Who were they for?
They're for the school and the Santa Clauses that Shannon,